Hey guys, I'm so excited to basically explain my experience of having QHHT, Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique. This experience was very life-changing, transformational for my life personally, and I will never forget this experience. I will take this to my grave and forever lifetimes. I initially, when I wanted to do this, I really had to put a lot of thought, and I've been thinking about this for a couple of years, and I've seen other YouTube sessions of people getting it done, and I remember I used to watch Alba. She's a famous practitioner that performs the QHHT session. Sometimes when I would look at the videos, some of the information that came across was just mesmerizing. It was just phenomenal. And it was like when I would listen, they had, one of the sessions where some of the information that would come through, it was just, I felt like it was automatic connection. Like this was in film, this was some type of familiarity in me. And I felt like it was some inner truth that I was guided towards to feel like, well, you know what, I want to do it. I want to take that chance. I want to do this. If you guys want to be able to get a QHT session, there is a link. I will link down below in the description box below about Dolores Cannon. She actually has a website where you can find a practitioner near you, basically where your area where you live. That's where I found my practitioner. So I will put a link down in below for the website so you can find a practitioner specifically in your area. And I will try, if possible, I will try to see if I can add a couple of parts of my audio for my session in this video so you guys can listen and hear it, okay? I started watching videos on Dolores Cannon, and that's how I was like, well, look, I started looking at videos of Alba, but I still was just mesmerized by the information. She was majority the founder, and she was the pioneer, the person that paved the way of being able to do this. It helps so many people, it did. If you want to get more information on it, please feel free to search her in the search engine. She has tons of videos. That's how I initially started on basically learning about the QHT. When I found my practitioner, I booked the appointment. I had mine done as of August 2019. And when I booked my session, initially what she will tell you is to have a list of questions. Now, there are two categories. The first category is usually physical or problems that you have physically. And then the other questions is more to ask for your higher self. Now, usually when I had my session, I had 3 past lives that I entailed on, that I went. And usually with each past life that you progress to, it goes from beginning to middle and then to the end, and then the very last day you see when your body is exiting that particular body and basically going on to afterlife or going home, or as they would say, heaven. It was a really good experience, and it felt like it was so vivid. I just remember it all. Now, I had physical problems that I had issues with. I had a lot of back pain, extremely back pain. I remember when I would meditate, I would have a lot of pain in my back. So I asked for that to be addressed and for it to be healed. And then I had another issue, my physical was, I used to bite my nails a lot. I used to bite my nails all the time. I was biting my nails. I started biting my nails like when I was 11 or 12 years old. That's when I was really biting my nails. And I told her I have been biting my nails for years, and could that be healed? Sure enough, it was healed. I'm gonna give you a little tidbit of that. It was healed. My nails have been growing, and when I mean growing, it's like, oh yeah, it's growing. No, it's growing, and I haven't been able to really bite my nails. Sometimes it even gets down to the point that sometimes I will put my nail up to my teeth and I can't even bite. I remember her telling me that once it was healed, could you replace it, instead of, if I had that thought or had that mindset of wanting to bite my nails, what can I have that in replace? When I was talking with my practitioner, and she was like, well, I was like, well, a glass of water. Water can't hurt you, and water is always good for you. So if I ever get the thought of wanting to bite my nails, then I would have a glass of water. That's been really great. Then there was another category specifically for the higher self questions. So I wanted to ask my higher self, you can ask your higher self anything you want. And a lot of times, if I'm explaining this and if you guys don't understand, again, you guys can research. There's tons of videos out there on higher self, about certain things and beyond this universe. Now, before the actual session starts, now when I got there initially, my practitioner was really nice. She was really down to earth. And I'm sure that's just probably so many other good practitioners out there. If you do go on the website and you do find yourself a practitioner near you, they're probably the best. When I got my practitioner, I sat down. So initially what you'll do is, it's more like building a rapport with your practitioner. You'll sit down with them, discuss with them. She wants to know everything. She's going to talk about the questions that you actually talked about, as far as what needed to be healed and questions you want to ask for your higher self. And she's also going to want to know background information about your upbringing, your family, your mother issues, any issues you have, like if you have any anger issues or overeating. I had issues myself. Like, I used to overeat a lot.
Poor Lucy.
Like, you know, the Haagen-Dazs, the pints of ice cream, I could eat the whole entire thing. I kid you not, literally eat the whole entire pint. And I suffered from that. And she told me too also that it had something to do with past lives of me going through starvation. That was even astounding, that she said that's why you're bringing it into this lifetime, but she said that could be healed. Anything. She wants to know everything so she can build that rapport, so when she does the actual hypnosis, she feels like she can understand the meaning between the reason why you're asking these particular questions. So after we were sitting down, we were like talking and everything, and it was like 2 hours long, 2 hours tops. And once we went through that, then she brought me on the table, and she basically told me that to do a couple of deep breaths and to imagine. Now, she said some of the stuff is because my brain, I guess it was more like analytical, and I had a tendency to like think of this, think of that. She said that this is going to be your higher self. At some point when you do talk to your higher self, don't doubt yourself and not say that this is me talking, it's your higher self. So I had to have a mindset of having faith too, and trust in myself that this information was coming for the best good of me and the best knowledge that can come forth to help me. My first past life that I went through was I was a slave. I was a male. I was a male slave.
Okay, so there's no whippings or anything to that effect that you know of, or is there?
I feel like there is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like there is. I get an image of it. Yeah, especially my back. Yeah, I feel like I get it around my back area with the whipping.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember specifically the first scene is like I was literally walking and I was chained to other slaves. I had no clothes on. I had pants on, but I didn't have any shirt on my back, and I felt really skinny. I was really skinny. I described it. I remember telling her and describing her that I came from Africa and that I was beat. Now, get this. I remember I told her that I had a physical problem, which I had the back pain. She said, and at some point when I did get to my higher self, I remember her asking my higher self if the back pain had something to do with the slavery when I was in my past life. She said, yeah. And I remember saying too also in the actual session, I was whipped. I think that I was whipped repeatedly on my back. And that in those times, in those days, that's what they did to people back then. They used to whip them all the time. And she said, yeah, and I remember her asking my higher self when they got to a certain segment when I was under hypnosis, she asked if the back pain had tied towards my past when I was a slavery, and she said, yeah, That's the reason why my back was hurting, because I was being whipped. And again, it was already healed. I remember getting the papers, and basically I remember not being a slave. I got the papers to have my freedom. And then fast forward, I get towards basically being on a farm and being with my family, my wife and my kids. And I remember dying in that very house. After having my freedom, I remember sitting there. I was surrounded by family, and she always asked every time the practitioner, did you go on? And I said, yeah, I made it to the light, which I made it to heaven. That was a really good experience, and it's so vivid too with the details. And I kid you not, like when you see it, it's so vivid as day, like it's vivid as if I'm looking at this camera, or vivid as day if I'm tasting that that fruit or biting down on that apple. It's so vivid, and it's not even dream. You just can't make some of this stuff up. You just can't. You just can't make any of it up at all. And my second past life that I had was, I was a Caucasian woman, a white woman. I had long hair. I worked on a farm. I had animals. I had a mother. I had a grandmother, and I had a dog. All this information, I can't make it up. And I remember I went through an abusive relationship. During that past life, I had a husband that abused me, and I remember when I was under hypnosis, I saw the bruises all on me. I saw those bruises, black and blue bruises all on me. I had one child out of that past life. I died in the hospital, and I was surrounded by family, but this time I had pneumonia. I believe I was smoking cigarettes. That's I think that's the reason why they tied towards pneumonia, then I ended up dying. But that again was a good experience. Third past life was, I was in New York in the 1920s. It was so exciting. My first scene when it opens up, when I transitioned to this past life, is I was in the car. I was in my 20s. Again, I was a male this time, another male I was, and I had a friend, and we were going to, you know, like the flapper party where you get all dressed up. I was sitting next to her, and we were so excited. And I fast forward, there was an incident where I was still with her, but I think we were dating, and she ended up getting pregnant. I said, I want to do an abortion. She was crying out. I remember I said, she's crying. And I said, and then the practitioner, why is she crying? I said, it's because I'm telling her to get an abortion. I don't want the kid. And then fast forward after that, we meet up, we see each other again, and she has 2 kids. And I just feel like I should have been with her, but because of the regret of her telling her to have an abortion, get rid of the kids, it just changed everything. That life, I never went on. I never passed on. Because there was an incident specifically, I remember in New York, I got shot. Somebody shot me, like, right point blank, like, while I was on the street. I think he was trying to rob me. I remember telling her that I fell to the ground, and there was a lady in the street saying, help, help. She said, well, how did you feel? And I could feel my chest, like I was like, I'm breathing really heavy. And she was like, okay, just be the observer, but not observe what actually is happening and feel what's actually happening. And I was the observer. But I told her that in that past life, I didn't go to the light. I stayed within this lifetime I am now, like who I am. So I was a male in that past life, but I stayed within this lifetime. So I just didn't go back to where I was supposed to. And then she was able to take that soul that I had in my past life and basically guide it to the light.
Zachary Binx, what took thee so long?
I'm sorry, Emily. I had to wait 300 years for a virgin to light a candle.
Like, that was a barrier too. It was holding me back on a lot of things. There was so many information. If I wanted to, I could talk for a good 2-3 hours, but it's just so much information, so jam-packed into the session. But I only can give so much information, but I'll give as much as possible. But I remember, because that soul was tied towards me, it didn't go on to the light. So she was able to release it, send it to the light, and it went to the light. And when it did, After this session was over, I felt refreshed. She basically took my whole entire body and had a complete deep cleanse, even like down to the DNA that I had on my body, basically flushing everything. It's like a restart. I felt like I was a newborn baby. Like, you know, like when you give birth to a child, it's like I felt like I'm the baby, you know what I mean? Like everything's all new to me. It's like a new awareness, a new awakening. I was so refreshed. But after I had that session, for 3 days after I had that session, I was exhausted and I was sleeping for hours. I think it was in a way where my body was trying to rejuvenate, refreshed, renew, replenish, anything that you can think of. Basically my body was trying to restore itself, and it was like I opened my eyes and I was like, I had a lot of energy, things that I saw, things that I did, things that I taste. My nails started growing. I never had any more back pain. I stopped overeating. I used to overeat. I don't overeat anymore. My body was so empty. Like, it wasn't like an empty, but it was like a cleanse of an empty. There was just so many changes about myself. I felt like I was a brand new person. I got a brand new body. It was so refreshed. You guys to tell me your thoughts and your feelings about how you feel, and if you guys want to get a QHHT session, feel free to get it. I got it. It changed my life, and it's very transformational. If you're ready, if you're at a point in your life where you really want significant change and you want purification in your body, a QHHT session is the way to go. Now, when you get that session, I recommend, and I know the practitioner said herself when I went there, that it's nothing you get just to get and keep getting it over and over and over. No. And some people are, the most question they do ask is, I'm afraid that I'm not going to be hypnotized. No. You will be hypnotized. You have to have that faith. You can do it. Your brain has a conscious mind, and then you have the subconscious, and it's like literally your brain is not allowing you to believe certain things because this is our reality. Certain things that you believe, it's all in the matter of a belief of a system. If you believe you can be hypnotized, you can do anything. Anything is possible, and the sky is the limit. So if I can do it, you can do it too. But only if you're ready. Not pressuring anybody, but if you want a life-changing experience, this is the way to go. And I would get it again in a heartbeat, and I will get it again in the future. But I just want to share my experience of my QHHT